Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fit Chicks Chat. My name is Amanda Quinn,
And my name's Laura Jackson.
and today we are recording a pretty fun podcast. I feel like it's fun. We're talking about fitness trends that we wish would just go away, and the three that we will love forever and ever and ever. And I thought that this was kind of like a fun episode because a lot of these things are things that are talked about right now, like the trends, or I don't even know if trends is the right word, but it's kind of like things that are happening within the fitness coaching space or the fitness world that we're seeing over and over again, whether it be on social media or in media, that we're just like, can we just stop that? Can we just like move past that? Or can we adjust it? Right. And then the others are just ones that we're just like, please don't ever go away. Or as RuPaul would say, as anyone who knows us knows that we love RuPaul, this is the stuff we would toot or boot.
Yes, I love a
Yeah,
tutor boot.
the tutor boot. So the things that we feel like let's just start off with the things that we wish would go away. And these are just like in no particular order, but these are things that we truly feel would just disappear. And like, if we can just please stop that. So the first thing is filming in a busy space and expecting it to be uninterrupted, or filming in change rooms, or not letting others know that you're filming, or filming anyone around you. I feel like I see this so much on social media now. And there's actually a social media influencer. I don't know if you've seen him, Laura. His name is Joey Swoll. And
I've heard of him.
so he's really cool. So he is on social media and he basically is just telling people, because they're posting videos of people in gyms and like in embarrassing moments or situations. And then he's like stitching to the video and basically saying like, hey, like, don't do that. It's not cool. Like, let's stop doing that. Let's respect others people's spaces, other people's privacy. Like, if you see someone struggling, instead of doing that, let's help them. Let's not film them to make fun of them, kind of thing. And I resonate with that so much because I feel like going to the gym for a lot of people can feel intimidating. It can feel scary. It can feel overwhelming. It can feel so seeing people with like cameras on, or feeling like you might be filmed, or feeling like you might be doing something wrong, it could prevent a lot of people from even taking the step inside the door of a gym or a studio or things like that. So I just feel like if you want to film, there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with you filming, if you're filming your workout, if you're doing something for social media, whatever, but do it in a place that feels either private or secluded, or let the people around you know and ask for their permission, versus doing it just kind of like, I own this space. Because I just don't feel like that's a fair way of going about it. So that would definitely be the number one thing that I would say. And especially the other one is filming in change rooms. Have you ever seen
Oh,
it?
I never even know. I couldn't even believe someone would do that. Like, how would
People
you
do
not
it.
know that that's not acceptable? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, people do it. People film in change rooms, or they take photos and stuff like that. And then they'll have someone in the background, right? I remember there was something in the news about someone that was doing that um, she was like a celebrity, or like, yeah, like some sort of a celebrity. And she took a video of someone and was like making fun of them in the video and then posted it on social media. And she got completely like, I can't remember her name, but she got like completely, bashed online, which I think rightfully so, in the sense of like,
well, yeah, that's just
like
immature and
just
mean.
like, it was just like, why are you doing this? It's so not necessary. So
See, I always just think the idea of filming the change room is also, you don't know who's in the background. Someone could easily be walking by naked. And also then you're going to be charged with circulating illicit information. It's just
exactly,
not
like if you want to take
acceptable.
pictures or videos of yourself like flexing and stuff, that's cool, but do it like in your own privacy of your own home, in like your own bathroom or whatever, if you need a bathroom selfie or whatever it is, but just try to avoid that at all costs. So that's definitely a boot. So that's for
Yeah.
anyone who doesn't know, boot is like, get it out of here. So that is number one in terms of the fitness trends that we wish would disappear. Now, the second thing is, I personally feel like this. I don't know if you do, Laura, but it's eating with like the whole idea of, if it fits my macros, I'm going to eat it anyways. I feel like this has gone to an extreme. And the reason why I feel like it should be kind of booted or at least adjusted is people are thinking about it. So if anyone is aware of this, it's like, if it fits my macros, I can eat it, meaning as long as I fit within my protein, fiber, fat, I can eat anything I want.
Well, your protein,
What's
carbs, and fat.
Well, yeah. So what people are doing though is that they're eating like it's like, oh, I'm going to have this sundae with like 10 Oreos on it and stuff, and then I'm not going to eat for the rest of the day because it fits in my macros. And so therefore, but what's happening is we're not seeing food the way that we should be seeing it, as like, this is nutritionally dense. This is going to fuel my body. This is going to give me the nutrition I need to be able to. So as a nutritionist, how do you feel about that trend? Because it's,
well, I mean, I don't know. I don't personally see, like, if it fits my macros was huge years ago, and I don't necessarily see it as much anymore, but I feel like it's very misunderstood, because the idea is it became really popular, right? Because people had that whole idea of like, if I eat ever, like I can eat whatever I want. And if it fit, like Amanda said, if it fits my macros, then I'm going to get to my result. So a lot of people use it for weight loss.
yes.
But the thing is it actually does not work that way, because in order to hit your actual macros, you have to have a certain amount of protein, a certain amount of carbs, and a certain amount of fat. So if you're just eating like a sundae, like Amanda said, and not eating all day, it's not fitting your macros. It's not hitting your macros. So people don't understand the actual, like, how macros calculations actually work. We have a whole section on it in both of our certifications, our holistic nutrition weight loss coach certification and our fitness and nutrition expert certification, because macros is a really amazing tool because it's very personalized. You can understand macros for each of your clients, how much, calories they need to reach their goals, how much proteins, carbs, and fats. But you have to follow the actual rules of it. You can't just be like, oh, I'm just going to eat whatever in between these calories. That's not the purpose of it, right? So the real purpose of it is, if you want to have a chocolate bar, if you want to have something that's not so nutritionally dense, like a sundae, you could still work it into your macros. So you're not feeling like those foods are good or bad, and you can still hit your goals, right? So for me, I actually don't mind the real macros counting, but it's the idea of the way it is marketed and the way that it is taught in most places that I don't like. So, and I don't like the, when people are like, I'm eating Pop-Tarts, I'm doing whatever, right? Like we always focus on a quality ratio. We teach at Fit Chicks Academy. Like, we want to have at least 80% of our food from real whole foods, and then 20% wiggle room for like not so nutritionally dense, because this is a lifestyle. This is not, you know what I mean? Like, this is not a short-term fix. So we see it as nutritionally dense food and not so nutritionally dense food. Now, if you want to hit certain goals, yes, you got to dial it in more. So macros calculations are great for that. But still, even within those macro calculations, the focus is 80% real whole foods, 20% not so nutritionally dense foods.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, this is what I think still so many people don't understand, is that calories matter, but they don't matter, because calories do matter if you want to lose weight. Right? You cannot be eating more than your body needs. It's energy balance, period. People want to say it's all these other reasons. That's part of the equation always. But the quality of those calories really matter, because food, when we ingest it, acts different inside the body than it does outside. So even if we're eating less calories, yes, we could lose weight if we're just eating Doritos. But in order for us to be able to actually balance insulin, balance blood sugar, balance hormones, all the things that are required also to help support the body in health and weight loss, we can't just be eating Doritos. We're going to have glucose spikes, and our body is going to be riding like an insulin roller coaster all day long, right?
Yeah.
So we want to be eating protein, fiber, healthy fats. So it's just like, that's what I think about it. I just think I'm not against the trend of it. I'm against the misinformation and the marketing of it.
Right. And that's a great way of putting it. And that's why I said in the beginning, this one is more of like an adjustment one, as opposed to like making it just disappear. It's more of like, can we just adjust it? Can we make changes to it so that it makes a little bit more sense?
Yeah, because it feeds into, as well, I always think, the whole mentality of, this, I think it actually feeds into like the bad relationship with food even more. It's when people do this marketing, they think they're pushing the idea of, oh, you can still have these foods, while you're losing weight. But what it does then, it kind of puts these foods in this category that they're quote unquote bad foods, and that we can only have them a little bit, which then creates a disordered relationship with that food and makes you want it more. And like all that stuff, it's like cheat meals, right? So It kind of keeps perpetuating this thing, instead of being like, okay, here's my macros, focusing 80% on nutritionally dense foods, 20% on foods that aren't so nutritionally dense. Most foods, guys, are not food. They are food-like products. And this is something I say all the time in our certification. I'm like, we got to stop thinking of Fiber One bars as food. They're not food. They are food-like products. Food is an apple. Food is a piece of steak. Food is broccoli. Food is beans. Food is not a Quaker One granola bar, right? But that's the way we think about it. We think there's good food and bad food. It's like, no, this is actually food, and these are food-like products.
Exactly. And I love that. It's such a simple way of thinking of it. It's like, it's the same thing as like the one ingredient foods. That's what I always think of it. It's like an apple is just one ingredient.
Yeah.
When you see something that has 50 ingredients, then you know that that's a processed food.
Well, it's like I always say to our students, like the idea of, because we talk about reading nutrition labels. And I was like, I'm teaching you how to read nutrition labels, even though the real goal is we're going to eat foods that don't have nutrition labels, because broccoli, carrots, meat, like they don't have nutrition labels on the packaging usually.
Exactly. Okay, so now our number 3 trend that we wish would just go and boot is the idea that you are avoiding strength training to avoid bulking up. I feel like we've talked about this many times on our podcast. You can go back. We have a bunch of different podcast episodes that are about strength training. So if you search them, you can find them. But I just thought I wanted to bring it up because I know it's still, even today, I think that it's shifting a lot in the world, in the space. Like a lot of people are focused now on strength training, but there is still the mindset by some that if I strength train, I will bulk up. And the truth of the matter is you have to strength train and eat a specific diet and do very specific things to reach a certain goal. It's not just going to happen just because you are lifting. If anything, it actually does the opposite. It leans your body out, it shapes your body, it tones your muscles. It's creating the shape that you usually desire is going to come from strength training, or may desire, I should say, not usually, but may desire will come from strength training versus cardiovascular training.
Well, and I also think, we have a lot of students in our academy, and, we're even working on developing some different coaching programs, but who are in their 40s, in their 50s, and who have never strength trained. And also, I think tying into this trend, I think of going like thinking that you're going to bulk up is one thing to let go of, but also thinking you're too old to start. I think that there needs to be more, the trend really is that strength training is always these younger women showing themselves strength training, which is awesome. But the people who need it the most are women who are aging, right? It's so required not only to keep metabolism up, it helps through menopause. It also is, we lose our muscle breaks down year over year after the age of 40. So we have to be actively, replenishing it. And I think the whole thing around strength training, I just think we need to boot the whole way it's done now and like reposition it and make it sexy for women in their 40s and 50s to actually want to strength train, like to not be intimidated by it, to really like showcase it. Because the way it's usually only promoted is like, oh, women who are doing fitness competitions, or, younger girls with sports bras at the gym filming their workouts with their peach bums, you know what I mean? Like, which is fine too, but just allowing more of a space for women to really understand strength training outside of the vanity of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like the benefits behind all of it. And then the final thing I would say in terms of like a trend that we wish would just take the boot is one size fits all coaching programs. I think that this is something that I think is actually like not on the rise, but is really popular, right? People are selling these like crazy, these like just done for you workout programs, but they're not like, there's no way to customize it. There's no way to understand it. There's no way to reach out to someone to get answers. And I think that having those one size fits all programs, we know they don't work, right? It may point someone in the right direction, but if their goal is specific, it's not going to help them reach that specific goal unless it's a customized program. And unless it includes fitness, nutrition, and looks at the wellness components as well, the mindset, all of that stuff. And that's why we teach, like in our fitness and nutrition expert program, we teach all of the components. It's like, all elements are equally important for overall health and well-being, and to be able to help someone actually have a longevity when it comes to their training programs. If we're just doing one part, we're doing someone an injustice, right? Because if someone just does fitness, then they're not going to necessarily reach the goal that they desire. They're going to feel like it's them. So we need to create customized programs to be able to support people on exactly what it is that they want to do.
Yeah, like I'm not anti, here's a challenge and everyone's doing the same challenge.
For
And
sure.
I'm not anti, you know what I mean? But as you start, if that's your first gateway in, especially, and you're just like, oh, I want to test out fitness and I want to try this.
Like stepping stones are great.
Yeah. And I always say to our students too, like we sell done for you challenges. We sell done for you coaching programs that, you know what I mean? Like then they can like customize with their clients. But it's the idea too, I think, again, it's not just even the one size fits all coaching, it's the one size fits all mindset. You know what I mean? That like everyone has to follow this type of cardio training and everyone has to follow this type of strength training and everyone has to work out this many days a week, right? Like that also for me kind of ties into it. It's like, I totally think that obviously as you need, like, as you're looking to get more to your goals, or you have specific goals, and, or if things are not working for you in a group setting or in something like a challenge where everyone's doing the same program, you definitely need some customization. And also you need a coach who can do that for you. Right. But I also think it's that one size fits all mindset of, that this is the right way. I see this a lot in nutrition, right? Like it's the idea of like, I'm a vegan. Veganism is the healthiest way. Every single human being on the planet should be a vegan. Right. Or I do keto. I got great results from keto. Keto is eating carbs are bad. Like, and you will hear this, right? People will fight it to the death because it worked for them. Mm-hmm. And they're reading the research that supports their belief system. It's called confirmation bias. We all do it. And then it's like, that's the only way. But the thing is there is no one size fits all coaching program. Like veganism will thrive for some people. It won't thrive for other people. Keto will thrive for some people. It won't thrive for other people. Depends on the season of your life too. So it's just this one size fits all mindset I think we all have to let go of, because everyone is different and what works for one person is not going to work for everybody. So in the event that you are offering like a group coaching program and it's not working for one of your clients, how do you then personalize it? Or if you are running group coaching programs, how do you offer levels modifications that they know how to kind of start to personalize it to them? Right? Like having those options, I think, but I don't like one size fits all anything. Like, I think there's always room for personalization. And I also think there's always room for questioning. It's like what we say to our coaches about, even fitness goals. Like we have so many different women who come to the academy who want to become coaches. They're all different ages, stages, shapes, sizes, backgrounds, and they all want to work with different type of people. Right. And fitness goals look different for everyone. So one person's goal might be to, hike a mountain. Somebody else's goal might be that they want to lose 10 pounds. Somebody else's goal might be that they want to just be able to, get motivated and be consistent with a cardio and strength training program. Some people want to work with people who have to lose 100 pounds. Other want to work with people who are over the age of 50, who are brand new to fitness, right? Like all of those people have different goals and all of their training programs are going to look different. So we need to think of not everyone wants the same thing. Not everyone wants a six pack. Not everyone wants all of that. And programs cannot be one size fits all either, because they just don't work.
I guess that's a great way of explaining it, because I didn't mean it like in the sense of, I do think that there is a place for programs as kickstarting programs or to get you, but it's like what you said, like, because this worked for me, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for you. And because this program is designed specifically for moms or for whatever, it doesn't mean that it's going to be that it'll work for every single person. Right. And I think it is just like understanding that every person may need something a little bit different, and being open as a coach to hearing feedback or customizing or working with a client and adjusting, and knowing that just because one program is built in one way, you may have to make adaptations to make it make sense for someone else. And I think with nutrition, it's a big thing too. Okay. So those are like the things that we were talking about that either needed adjustments or just getting the boots.
Ooh, I do have one more. I do have one more that I want to say.
Sorry.
Yes. I want to do a bigger podcast about this afterwards, but
okay.
I also think that one thing that I would like to boot is this idea that I've seen over the last couple of years. The idea that focusing on your weight, focusing on your health, focusing on your fitness is a bad thing. And it means that you don't love yourself. And it means that you don't, what's the word? Like if you're focusing on, you're selfish, you're self-centered, you're focusing on the wrong things, you just need to love yourself and forget about fitness and forget about nutrition and forget about all that stuff. And we saw a huge rise of this in the body positivity movement. We did a podcast a really long time ago about fitness shaming. It was about fat shaming, fitness shaming, and health shaming, because there is a way too that, the flip side of it is a lot of people are feeling shame around the fact that they want to lose weight or they want to change their health. And they're thinking that that is anti self-love, or it's anti, feminism, or it's anti all these things. And I just want to offer that I think that that trend really needs to stop. I think everyone needs to be involved in their fitness and nutrition, their health. I think personally for me, this is where it is a one size fits all, that I think this is part of, if your physical body is not in balance, there's so many other things that get out of balance too, like even mindset, mental health suffers, like all of these things go hand in hand, right? So I just want, that's the last one I want to say that I would like to boot, is the idea that if you are focusing on your fitness, health, or wellness, and, there's a lot of social media accounts that just like make fun of people who do because they think it's non-self-loving. For me, I think that that's a trend that needs to go, because we're just, again, perpetuating another extreme of not caring about our health. It's like all of these things are wrapped up with the same root cause, but we're just coming at it in different ways. And people think they're doing good. And they are in some ways, because we should love ourselves. We always promote at Fit Chicks Academy. You can love yourself and want to lose weight at the same time. You can love your body and want to change it, right? Like there's no or game. Yeah. But it's trying, we've just lived in a world for so long that it is an or game, that we're still playing that or game. Like you either have to, if you're focusing on your health, it means that you hate your body. It's like, no, I'm focusing on my health and I love my body and I want to change it and it's still amazing and right?
I think that also comes from like a personal practice of getting comfortable being like, I'm going to go for a walk because I want to be stronger or I want to be healthier, not from like a self-loathing place or a negative place, right? As long as you're doing it from a place like that, you're still doing it from a self-love place. You can still completely transform, but doing it, if that is your goal, but you can do it from a place where it's like, I'm doing this. And it really just, it's like a mindset thing, because it's focusing on the positive outcomes of it versus like focusing on a negative driven place, right? Like you don't want to be driven from a negative place. You want to be just focused on like the positive outcomes. By me doing this action, the positive outcome will be this thing. And when we focus on it from that perspective, then that's where it comes from, like a self-love place. And that's where it comes from, a place of like, I love my body and that's why I'm doing this, not I dislike this part and I'm going to do this because then it's nothing, it will never work that way. And it's not,
it's not sustainable.
You can do. Exactly. You can't do that forever. You can't, and you don't want to. Nobody wants you to be living in a life where you're doing things because you have any kind of negative feelings around it, and that's what's driving it. It has to be driven from a place of positivity. So when you focus on the outcome and it being a positive thing, then that's where it can really be driven from this loving place.
Well, it's also the same thing. And this last thing I'll say about this is just, motivation is such a fascinating topic. And over the last few years, I've been really studying it. But like, we all think that motivation is this feeling like when we do things, it's because we're motivated and we feel excited to do them. And we're like, yeah, I want to go work out. But motivation comes from our thinking, right? And motivation can be really fueled from negativity. Like we can fuel ourselves to do things. So if I was to say I'm motivated and my action is to go to the gym, that could be from a thought, I hate my body. And that motivates me so much because I hate myself so much that I do the action. Or it could be because, oh my God, I love doing this. I feel like I want to go do this. This is what I want to do today. And that's a positive motivation. So that's where too, you know what I mean? Like it's understanding that you can go and get stuff done with the fuel. I always think of emotion as fuel. It's like your gas tank, right? It's what fuels your gas tank to go.
So funny. I think of it that way too.
Yeah. It's like, that's what, and when you're on empty, it's usually because emotionally you are not there, right? Your thoughts and emotions aren't in line, but it's like your fuel. But the thing is that fuel sometimes can be from a negative place. And we have to be onto ourselves from that, because that place you will never find self-love. That place you will always be chasing and, outside of you thinking that something will make you happy or healthier or whatever. So it's really trying to make sure too, you've got that motivation, not from, and at the beginning too, guys, this is the last thing I want to say. I know I keep going on these tangents, but I just don't want anyone to think there's a problem though, if at the beginning, a couple times you go to the gym because you hate your body. You know what I mean? Like, or you start working out because of that and you're waiting to love your body or have this positive motivation. But just recognizing when that does happen and that that's something you want to work on shifting. Because it is it's very fascinating watching people. And I'm someone too, who I'm a very motivated person. Like it doesn't take other people I don't need accountability. I'm very accountable to myself, but I have this duality in myself where I can be very motivated by negativity and I can be very motivated by my own positives. Right. Like, but I will go do things out of like feeling not good enough, which is not a place to do it because you will never get there. You will never find the thing.
No, and if anything, it'll just create more negativity and frustration in your life. So I think we definitely need to do a separate podcast about that and dive even deeper into that conversation. But definitely, I love that. So definitely boot that out of the way. Okay. And then when we're talking about the toots are the things that we want to keep, the things that we love and that we will love forever and ever and ever. And I think the first thing that I had on my list was the complete in 3 rule, because I think we talk about the complete in 3 like a million times over on this podcast, but the complete in 3 rule, in my opinion, is one of the simplest nutritional hacks that you can have out there, which is just eating protein, fibers, and fats. We teach it in both of our courses in the academy. And I think when you think of it from that perspective, and when you describe it to someone as like, okay, just make sure every meal and every snack follows the complete in 3 rule, having protein, fiber, and fat. It's like, okay, it's like a no-brainer. It makes it so easy when nutrition feels so damn complicated. Nutrition feels like there are so many layers and you have to understand so many things. And you got to calculate your macros and you got to track things and you got to do this. If you just focus on this one thing, you will eat better for your body. You will fuel it better. You will feel better. You will have more energy. All of those things will happen just by following that simple rule. So I feel like that to me is like one of the things that we should definitely toot and like shout from rooftops as well.
Yeah. And it's funny because we've had Fit Chicks since 2008 and we have been talking about the complete in 3 rule, and it has withstood any fad diets, any macros that are like the famous ones of the season. Because the reality is that, we can always have like, there's more to it than just, of course, eating protein, fiber, and fat, but that is the foundation of all of it, right? That is the foundation of when you balance, easily just have those 3 things at every meal or build your meals around that and really focus on, we dial into it more in certification about like, what are the amounts for each of those? And, what are the foods that we should focus on that get the most nutritional bang for your buck, and how much quantity if the goal is weight loss, and all of that stuff plays into it. But just at the very foundation, if we could just focus on eating complete in 3 at every single meal, we can balance blood sugar very quickly, which is so not just tied into weight loss, guys, it's tied into overall health. Like when you look at someone who has imbalanced blood sugar, also if you look at their moods, their energy levels, their insulin levels, so many times, right? It completely follows what's going on with their blood sugar.
Yeah.
So it's just something that it's one of the quickest, easiest ways. And we always say, you can use it anywhere. It's like you can eat at home that way, at a restaurant, at a buffet, on vacation. It's just such a great tool to have in your pocket.
It's just, yeah, I just find it like the simplest thing. You don't have to worry about tracking or worry about anything. Like,
no,
you can if you're trying to get specific, but it makes it simple.
No,
So
it's real whole foods. Always what we were just saying earlier.
Yeah.
There's kind of 2 rules to the complete in 3. Focus on real whole foods and protein, fiber, and fat at every meal. Those 2 things together, you can completely change your life.
Yep. The second thing is the trend around HIIT training. So I know it's been around for a long time, but I hope it stays forever, because I feel like HIIT training for me is not only one of my favorite ways to train, and it is one of the modalities that we teach in our fitness and nutrition expert program, but it's also it's transformed the way that I work out. I remember before when I used to think I had to work out for like hours and I had to do all these things and everything had to be like in pieces, and I would do, and I think there's a time and place for everything, like for strength training, for low intensity, steady state cardio, for HIIT training. Like there's a place for everything in your workout programs, and you don't have to do HIIT all the time. But I just feel like it's sometimes gets a bit of a bad rap right now, I find. And I just feel like I'm still absolutely 100% team hit, because
Yeah.
it's transformed my health and the way that I work out.
Well, and the thing is too with HIIT training, it's been interesting because over the last, when we first started in fitness, even the World Health Organization was just focused on more longer steady state cardio. Like that was the way you
Yeah.
should work out. And now they've even changed it that HIIT training is more beneficial.
Mhm.
But the one thing with HIIT where a lot of people are having, an uproar around too is the idea of cortisol levels, because people are so stressed out. And then it's this idea that if you're doing HIIT training, you're putting high stress in the body in addition to being stressed out. But the thing is too, is actually it's more stressful to be in a steady state of cardio for a long period of time, doing 60 minutes on the elliptical trainer as it is to doing 10 minutes of HIIT. Right. So there's a lot of research that supports it. There's a lot of, some research that for certain seasons, and this is where too, it comes back to customizing. So depending on what's going on with you, your hormones, your health, your life, maybe HIIT for you at this season might not be the best thing. However, usually for most people, you can even do, if it's not HIIT. So Amanda, I always say this, do it. If it's not
Yeah.
HIIT, do it, which is interval training. So if
Yeah.
it's not that you're going to those high intensity, you can still do, like, instead of doing a sprint and a walk, you could still do a power walk and a walk. You know what I mean? Like, so you don't have to necessarily go to those intensity, but that high intensity, but you're still getting that amazing, peaks and valleys, which again, our body has to adapt to. And the more our body gets surprised and it's like, wait a second, what am I doing now? I got to adapt to this. The more calories we burn, the more benefits that we get.
Exactly. So I love our hitting it. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about that I think that is a trend that I want to see stay forever, and I want to continue to see it grow, is spreading the healthy love. Spreading the healthy love is essentially our idea, not our idea, but like the statement that we always say about health coaches that are just out in the world, sharing about their experiences, sharing their expertise, people who are aspiring coaches, even just being kind and considerate, going back to number one, which is like being kind and considerate at gyms, showing others in the gyms or in studios. If you see someone struggling, you're going to help them. If obviously ask them if they would like help in advance. I'm not just going to kind of go over there, but offering support to people that need support and just spreading that healthy love. And it could be things too, like if you're not a coach or you're, someone who is listening right now and you love health and fitness, maybe it's sharing a recipe with your mom group, or maybe it's sharing, babysitting, like you're like, I'll watch your kids so you can work out, and vice versa, and things like that. And we've been talking about this again for years about how to just spread that healthy love. And I think that really needs to continue on. And we also need to continue to grow that and really pay attention to that. How can I help someone, whether it be in my community, in my family, someone in my neighborhood? How can I support them on their health journey? And how can I just share how this has transformed me? And, whether it's you just start going for walks together or whatever, there's so many different ways you can do it. But I just think that sharing that expertise, and then someone who is a coach stepping in and really supporting people in your community and helping out if you do see someone struggling, or if you know that someone needs a little bit of extra support, being able to offer that support to them, you can change someone's life. And I think that spreading the healthy love is
100%.
one of the most important things you can do. So that is my final thing that I wanted to share today about the things that we should keep or continue to grow. Is there anything else that you want to add to that, Laura?
No, I just love that last one. I always think that, being able to, number one, like lead by example. So what you're doing in your life, but then also knowing, I'm such of the mentality always like, don't give a hand out, give a hand up. And
Yeah.
because people thrive when they see other people taking care of themselves. And then also when they get support to be able to do it themselves too. So, one thing that we used to talk about a lot, and especially since having my son, I know is, something you could do for one of your girlfriends would be like, maybe you could go and watch her kids while she goes to a class, right? As opposed to, going over with a bottle of wine or whatever it is. Right. So having things that help to support your community too, that you can create more health and have it more accessible for some people who might not have, childcare, or they might not have support at home or whatever it is. So I just always love that idea of, leading by example, and also then just also giving people the opportunity to be able to take care of their health too.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, with that said, we are going to wrap up for today. We hope you loved our trends. We'd love to hear about what you think. So, if there's any trends that you want to tutor boot, make sure that you comment below. Let us know. And of course, right now, if you are someone who is listening and you are an aspiring coach, we have our Fitness Coach Week, our Holistic Fitness Coach Week coming up, and it is happening. It's happening
Today.
right now. Yes, it's happening right now. And so make sure that if you have not already joined, if you are interested in learning more about becoming a heart-centered fitness professional, about getting certified and being out in the world and spreading that healthy love even more to your community, your family, make sure that you sign up today so that you can join us for all of these live trainings. We're going to be diving deep into everything to do with fitness and holistic fitness coaching, and just all of the tools that you need to be successful in your coaching practice. So check it out. Again, it's at fitchicksacademy.com/coach week.
Coach Week. Yeah.
Yes. I want to make sure I had it right. So fitchicksacademy.com/coach week is where you go register, secure your free spot today. We will see you live in there to learn more and help you just get a better idea of what it would mean to become an amazing holistic fitness coach. All right, everyone, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you again next week for Fit Chicks Chat, but we'll see you inside Coach Week. So check it out now, and we'll see you in there. Bye.
Bye.